Tonight's headlines aren't just shocking, they're straight out of a scandal-packed Netflix thriller. ICU CCTV footage has leaked, and the internet is losing its collective mind. King Harris, scheduled for risky brain surgery, suddenly becomes the unwilling star of a horror scene when he's brutally attacked in his hospital room. Millions replay the viral clip, screaming, "How can this happen inside a so-called fortress of safety?" The video is pure nightmare fuel. A masked figure, allegedly linked to a gang, struts past clown-level hospital security and storms in. One by one, the cameras mysteriously die except the single lens that spills all the messy truth. The intruder glides to King's bed, toys with his life-saving machines, and unleashes a savage assault. Nurses wail, alarms shriek, and the ward erupts into chaos as doctors scramble like it's the season finale ever. In seconds, silence flips into hell on earth, and the fallout? Catastrophic. Tiny collapses outside, begging for her son's life, while T, broken and enraged, declares this wasn't random, it was a precision hit meant to silence his family forever. Online chaos follows instantly, conspiracy threads everywhere. Some swear it's an industry setup, others point to old enemies, and the spiciest rumor says hospital staff sold their loyalty for cash. Fans worldwide cry for justice, but one bone-chilling question drowns every theory. Will King Harris survive? Or has the industry's dirtiest game gone too far? That ICU leak didn't just shake people, it blew the roof off. For years, King Harris was hyped as the fearless, untouchable prince of hip-hop royalty. Now, he's trapped in a hospital bed, fighting for his life at the center of music's ugliest scandal. That viral video racing across the internet isn't just an assault clip, it's a horror reveal. A black-clad phantom slid past elite security into the so-called safest ward. His moves? Ice-cold, surgical, like a pro running a mission. He zeroed in on King's bed, ignoring everyone else, as if he memorized the blueprint. Alarms wailed, nurses freaked, machines flatlined, and screams tore through the ICU. One nurse even tried blocking him, but got tossed aside like dead weight. King Harris, frail and trapped in wires, couldn't even raise a hand to defend himself. When millions replayed that leak, the world's collective heart dropped. The son of T and Tiny, raised under non-stop flashing cameras, lay helpless in the one place meant to shield him. And the nightmare only spirals darker. The CCTV leak spawns chilling questions. Who leaked the tape? Why did just one camera miraculously work while the rest blacked out? Fans smell corruption, they're screaming inside job. Some point fingers at the industry's shadows, silencing King before he spilled secrets. Others say it's revenge, T's enemies finally cashing in. But the coldest whisper yet? That hospital staff pocketed dirty money to cut feeds and unlock doors. The Harris family's torment is unbearable outside. Tiny collapsed right in front of flashing cameras, clutching her chest and screaming her son's name like the world was ending. Witnesses swear she shook violently, sobbing and begging doctors through tears to please save my baby. Meanwhile, T went nuclear outside, his voice cracking as he roared to reporters. This wasn't no accident. Somebody wanted my boy gone. Somebody planned this. His words tore through the media like shrapnel, cementing the belief that this was a setup, not a slip. Fans are shattered, split between outrage and heartbreak. Hashtags like #PrayForking, #JusticeForking, and #hospital setup are setting timelines on fire. Millions keep reposting the footage with captions like, "How can this happen in an ICU?" And the industry is rotten, they're hunting the next generation. The punch lands even harder knowing doctors were prepping King Harris for risky brain surgery just hours before. After the attack, his condition spiraled, shock nearly flatlined his heart. Though revived, his brain activity now hangs by a thread. This wasn't just a surgical delay, it shoved him right to the cliff's edge. The hospital, meanwhile, is getting roasted alive. Protesters crowd the entrance, demanding executives explain how an armed stranger strolled into a so-called secure ICU. Why wasn't a guard welded to the door of a celebrity patient like King? Why did the cameras conveniently die at the worst possible moment? The silence is gasoline on the fire, and the leaked tape has turned a medical nightmare into a scandal inferno. Conspiracy theories swirl nonstop. YouTubers call it an industry sacrifice, targeting young stars and celebrity kids as part of backroom deals darker than midnight. Others pin it on rival gangs, pointing at King Harris's messy online beefs. But the boldest whispers accuse insiders of staging the entire spectacle as distraction drama bait, hiding something far darker in the shadows. Strip away the chatter, and one brutal truth remains: King is clinging to life, every second pounding louder like a ticking bomb. His family's shattered, his fans devastated, and the world can't look away as the ICU leak loops endlessly, each replay more haunting than the last. Inside the hospital, the air is suffocating. Armed guards now stand frozen outside King's door, frisking every visitor, yet paranoia still poisons the halls. If it happened once, who says it can't happen again? T hasn't budged from the building since the attack. One insider spotted him slumped in a hallway, head in hands, muttering he should have seen it coming. The guilt, the rage, the heartbreak, it's devouring him alive. And Tiny, too frail to face the blinding cameras, is reportedly under medical care after collapsing again and again since the nightmare began. But this horror has cracked open a bigger, colder question. Are celebrities ever really safe? Because if the son of hip-hop royalty can be ambushed in an ICU, then who on this planet is truly untouchable? What does it really expose about the reach of enemies, the grip of conspiracies, and the flimsy walls of systems we're told are built to protect us? While the world argues and spins theories, King Harris lies unconscious, tangled in tubes and machines, his fate dangling by a thread. Will he survive long enough for surgery? Will he wake up and drop the truth? Or is this the silencing of yet another young life crushed between fame, enemies, and shadows that thrive in the dark? One thing's undeniable: that ICU leak didn't just shift the story, it detonated it. This is no longer about one boy's operation, it's about trust in ashes, betrayal unmasked, power running wild, and the ugly punchline that even in secure places, no one's secure at all. The world watches, the family prays, and fans everywhere whisper the question no one wants to face. Is this the end for King Harris? And the nightmare only deepens. What began as one shocking ICU leak has mushroomed into a global scandal, threatening not just the Harris legacy, but the entire music industry's image. That footage looped millions of times on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram doesn't just show an attack. Frame by frame, viewers are dissecting it like gospel, uncovering bone-chilling details with every replay. Frame by frame, viewers are uncovering nightmare details they missed the first time. At one chilling moment, the masked intruder actually locks eyes with the lens, almost haunting the entire world. Seconds later, just as his hand hovers over King Harris's monitors, the feed cuts to static, only to flicker back in chaos. Nobody's calling this a random break-in anymore. They're screaming inside job with a professional's touch. Experts tearing through the footage insist the attacker's moves scream military precision. Fast, calculated, knowing exactly where to stand, to stay invisible. Which wires to pull to sabotage King's vitals. This wasn't panic, it was choreography. And yet the most sinister question still hangs heavy. Who gave the order? Social media is on fire with clashing theories. Some claim TE's old Atlanta enemies finally cashed in, rivals who've been sharpening their knives for years. Others put the blame on King himself, saying his wild Instagram lives and non-stop taunts painted a bullseye on his back. But the darkest whisper of all, the one nobody dares say out loud but everyone's secretly thinking, is that this wasn't personal beef at all. It was an industry-level hit, a cold message meant to break T by striking straight through the heart of his family. Meanwhile, the hospital is drowning in disgrace. Reporters exposed that several security guards on duty that night conveniently abandoned their posts just minutes before the ambush. Their excuses? Laughable. One claimed he slipped out for a smoke. Another swore he was called upstairs, except, surprise, no such calls ever happened. Was this mind-blowing incompetence? Or were these guards straight up bought off? Then came the second bombshell leak, a shaky audio recording from inside the ICU. The sound is gut-wrenching. Nurses screaming, alarms wailing, and a frantic doctor yelling, "He's crashing. He's crashing." Before pure chaos swallows everything. The clip exploded online instantly, leaving fans devastated as they imagined King Harris fighting for breath while his family stood helpless outside. The Harris family's torment has now become the world's heartbreak. Tiny is spotted daily outside the hospital, wrapped in blankets, her face swollen from non-stop crying. Witnesses say she collapses over and over, whispering through sobs, "Why my baby? Why him?" Meanwhile T, once the iron backbone, looks broken. His fists pound the walls, his voice splinters with rage. Yet he refuses to leave his son's side for even a second. Insiders whisper that T hasn't eaten in days, roaming the hospital halls like a ghost on fire. But the chaos isn't trapped inside those sterile walls. Outside, protests rage, fans, activists, and conspiracy fanatics waving signs that scream, "Protect King." Hospitals are not safe and industry blood on their hands. What began as one family's nightmare has exploded into a symbol of corruption, betrayal, and the flimsy shield of fame. The emotional weight is crushing. Viral clips show young fans sobbing outside the hospital, begging, "King was our inspiration. He can't leave us now." Social feeds drown in prayers, hashtags, and candlelight vigils, spreading city to city like wildfire. And then boom, the twist nobody saw coming. Investigators allegedly uncovered a massive cash transfer into an anonymous account tied to a hospital staffer. Could this be the smoking gun? Proof that someone inside sold King out? If true, this wasn't an accident, it was a blueprint. The revelation tears the wound deeper, forcing the world to face the horror. A family bringing their son for healing, only to watch the very people sworn to protect him turn into accomplices of violence. Meanwhile, fans are digging through King Harris's old Instagram lives, unearthing eerie clips that now feel prophetic. In one, just weeks before the ambush, King smirked and said, "If something happens, just know they planned it." Those words now haunt his supporters, replayed endlessly, like he predicted his own fate. But the tragedy has sliced public opinion wide open. Critics slam T, saying his years of beefs painted a giant target on his family. Others twist the blade deeper.
He even claimed T.I. left him to struggle in the hood. But here's the kicker, the media
family's suffering. Yet most of the world rides with them, demanding answers, demanding justice. Online petitions flood in, calling for an independent probe, while Atlanta lawmakers face pressure to launch a full-scale inquiry into hospital security's epic failure. Inside the ICU, the truth is brutal. Doctors admit King Harris is in a razor-thin state. His oxygen dips and spikes, brain swelling is climbing, and surgery can't even start until his body steadies. Every tick of the clock feels like a doomsday countdown. For the Harris family, it's torture. For the fans, it's pure agony. This isn't gossip, it's life and death, captured on camera, replayed for millions. Crowds wail, chanting to know who wanted King Harris gone and why. But the darkest fear? That the truth may never surface. If this was an industry hit orchestrated by powerful hands in the shadows, the evidence could vanish buried, silenced, erased just like they wanted King to be. For now, the footage keeps looping online. Every replay crushes more hearts. Every share makes the weight even heavier. The Harris family is trapped in a waking nightmare. While the world can only watch, pray, and whisper, will King Harris survive to tell his side? Or will that CCTV leak stand as the final testimony of his battle? Because the fallout from this ICU ambush didn't stay inside hospital walls, it's exploded into a nationwide firestorm of fear, betrayal, and haunting questions left unanswered. The footage wasn't just grainy hospital tape, it detonated into one of the music industry's most explosive debates ever. And with each passing hour, the weight of this tragedy crushes not only King's family, but millions of fans glued to every update. At first, the attack looked like a random nightmare, some deranged stranger, maybe just freak violence. But as investigators dug deeper, every illusion of safety shattered. Leaks revealed the intruder wasn't a stranger at all, but someone allegedly tied to hospital insiders. Then came another gut punch. Tiny staggered out of the building in complete collapse, sobbing uncontrollably, screaming, "They want to destroy my baby." Her raw cries sliced through the swarm of cameras, instantly going viral and pulling millions further into the chaos. And then the nuclear twist. Anonymous insiders whispered this wasn't even about King Harris. It was a warning shot aimed straight at T, meant to break him by targeting the one thing he couldn't protect. The theory cut like ice. Somebody wanted T silenced. And instead of hitting him head on, they struck the one thing closest to his soul, his son. Fans immediately began stitching together old grudges, forgotten rivalries, and dusty enemies from hip-hop's past. Long-buried beefs resurfaced, and the internet exploded with speculation. Meanwhile, King Harris's condition nosedived. Doctors confessed the attack caused even more trauma. And though they managed a shaky stabilization, the words critical condition echoed like a death knell in every press briefing. Around the world, fans lit candles, gathered in vigils, and demanded justice. Social feeds drowned in hashtags pray for King, hashtag justice for King Harris, hashtag protect the Harris family. But But not everyone bought the narrative of simple violence. Conspiracy hawks swore it was part of something far bigger. Online theorists dug up so-called receipts, claiming industry elites wanted King silenced before he could expose hidden rot record label corruption, shady backdoor deals, even deadly industry practices. True or not, millions clung to the theory, desperate to explain why anyone would target a young man already clinging to life. And then the CCTV footage itself detonated online, ripping through the internet like a bomb. What the world saw left jaws hanging. The intruder wasn't just poking at machines, he appeared to deliberately sabotage King Harris's oxygen supply. He leaned over King's face, lingered for a heartbeat, then bolted the moment alarms screamed. The clip was grainy, shadowy, but crystal clear in horror. Millions who watched froze in disbelief. The idea that someone could stroll into one of the most secure wards at midnight to attack a defenseless patient shattered the nation's sense of safety. T's reaction? Pure nuclear. Outside the hospital, cameras caught him raging at reporters. This was an assassination attempt. Don't get it twisted. They tried to kill my boy. His words dumped gasoline on the fire. Some fans sided instantly, blaming industry rivals. Others accused T of stoking paranoia. But one fact towered above the noise. This wasn't a family tragedy anymore, it was a scandal threatening to drag the entire entertainment industry into the flames. And then it got darker. Hospital staff started spilling contradictory stories. Some swore they never saw anyone enter. Others admitted the cameras mysteriously went dark just minutes before the attack except for that one damning lens. Theories spiraled pitch black. Was the hospital covering something? Were palms greased? Was a powerful hand pulling strings from the shadows? Meanwhile, Tiny was too broken to speak. Photos showed her collapsing into T's arms outside the hospital. Fans wept as they saw the woman who had always been the family's backbone crumble under the unbearable weight. This wasn't just grief anymore, it was pure helplessness. The Harris family's enemies didn't keep quiet, they pounced. Trolls flooded social media, sneering. T's past is haunting him. You reap what you sow. Those cruel jabs only ignited T's fury. He fired back with cryptic posts about snakes hiding in plain sight, and instantly millions began speculating who he was targeting. But then came the darkest twist yet, rumors that the intruder wasn't alone. Allegedly, the hit was orchestrated by multiple people, with chilling whispers that someone close to the family tipped them off. The thought of betrayal from within rattled fans to their core. With King Harris barely clinging to life, the world sat paralyzed, begging for answers. But clarity never came, only heavier, darker turns. Protesters packed the hospital gates, demanding justice. Candlelight vigils stretched for blocks, fans sobbing openly as they chanted his name into the night. The entire city morphed into a stage of grief and rage, and still, the same bone-chilling question wouldn't fade. Who wanted King Harris dead? Was it payback for T's old beefs? An industry-level plot to silence the next generation? Or someone terrifyingly close, hiding in plain sight? This wasn't just an act of violence, it was the spark that set off a national inferno about safety, betrayal, and the lethal shadows of fame. With each passing day, the mystery only grows darker. But one brutal truth is clear. After what went down in that ICU, the world will never be the same, and the attack on King Harris was far more than a strike at one boy. It was an assault on a legacy.